Hey everybody, Luke here. It's been a week since I put a battle report up. Maybe 2 or 3 now. I was in Florida with my family on that standard Minnesota's cold in the winter, so let's all run to Florida. We all do it here. But unfortunately, it meant no Warhammer. I was able to listen to a couple of good podcasts while I was on the beach, so thank you Point Hammered, Garage Hammer, and Skull Brothers for providing me with entertainment and distracting me while I got just burnt to a crisp without realizing it. But at least I got some Warhammer in and didn't have to totally unplug. I did get good scotch and good cigars, so it was a good vacation after all. But I got home and I was like, man, I'm jonesing for Warhammer. I didn't have any games set up. Everyone was kind of busy, and getting back into work took some time. But I did get some good hobby done. Been working on more Black Orcs and some little guys here and there. Finally painting up some of the Boar Boys. So good hobby along the way. And now we got a couple games, one tonight and a couple coming up. So I should have some more battle reports this week for you guys. Anyway, here's what the terrain looked like. Just a couple buildings, forest, fence in the middle. We didn't play with any of it as magical. Here's what my Warriors of Chaos opponent brought. He got a group of Skull Crushers, some freshly painted Hellstriders, Nurgle Chariot, and a group of Hounds. Then he's got Nurgle Warriors with a level 4 in there. Those Nurgle Warriors have halberds. Then he has a War Shrine and Chosen with his BSB in there. They're also nurgled up. And I believe they get +1 toughness in the beginning of the game. Then his Hell Cannon sitting there, another Nurgle Chariot, and some dogs. I've got a Mangler Squig being proxied there, a Boar Chariot, my standard block of Savages with the level 4 Lucky Shrunken Head, then another block of Black Orcs with the BSB in there. A group of Trolls this time. I'm trying that out. Then a Chariot, Mangler Squig, second one, 40 Night Goblins, group of Boar Boys, group of Wolf Riders that look suspiciously like spiders. I'm proxying them. And then an Ragnarok. It's worth noting that this is the scenario we got Blood and Glory. And so I start with 7 fortitude points. My opponent has 5. And he steals the first turn. So on the first turn, after Vanguard movement, he moves his dogs. And he moves them right into the Mangler, trying to get rid of them. And that's the smartest thing he can do right there. So the Mangler on that flank's gone, but this one over here was too far away to do the same trick with. So he declares a charge with his Skull Crushers, and I flee with my Wolf Riders. At the time, it looked like a decent overrun would have got them out of the charge arc of my Spider and my Boar Boys, so I figured, you know what, let's just flee and not even chance it, getting them running around running around my back lines there with Hellstriders coming in, and those Skull Crushers there would not have been good. This just shows that his army's moving up, and this shows that his Hellstriders are coming in. They have enough movement to easily get out of the charge arc of the Spider and start getting around to get to that Doom Diver. During Magic, it's 9 dice to 8. He throws 2 dice at the War Shrine, and my level 4 picks up 2 dice, rolls them, and I roll Snake Eyes. So I fail concentration, break concentration, and the spell goes off. Now, unbelievably, we've been waiting for it for a while. He rolls and gets a Demon Prince on his Chosen's unit champion, which is pretty great. It's awful for me, but pretty great for him. And I've never fought a Demon Prince, so that's that proxy model sitting right out there in the middle. Then he gets +1 weapon skill on the champion and the warriors block, and +1 toughness on his BSB, which is also not bad. He tries to throw 6 dice at Plague Wind, which I dispel with my 6 dice, just on my level 2's dispel. And then the Ruby Ring, he tosses at the Trolls with his last die and lands 1 wound. So during shooting, the Hell Cannon aims and gets a direct hit on the Night Goblins, killing 19 of them. It was terrible, which causes a panic because I placed very, very poorly. You know what? This is one of the problems I've been having with Orcs and Goblins. I'll talk about this at the end when I'm kind of going through my thoughts, but I'm outside of the leadership bubble, and there are no good Goblin characters that can give any decent leadership, and so these guys just break, and this was really painful for me because these guys are, look at them. They're going to go off the board. There goes a Dispel Scroll, and, all the Fanatics, they're already dead. It's just terrible. So, yeah, I learned a couple lessons there. I'll talk about it at the end a little more, but leadership, it's so important with the Orcs and Goblins. Anyway, end of a successful Warriors of Chaos turn 1. Here's what the board looks like. Orcs and Goblins, time to answer back. I fail Animosity on only the Boar Boys. It always seems to be them for me. I don't know what's wrong with those Boar Boys, but they always fail Animosity. And then they get 6, which is not bad. That means they are going to go ahead, take a full move, and then declare a charge on those dogs. So they do, and the dogs opt to flee. I believe I was either out of range or failed to be able to redirect I think it was failed, and I think there were a few guys who were technically in range, but I failed to be able to redirect. So the Boar Boys end up failing, and they got their flank exposed there, and the dogs are on the other side of the warriors. But that's fine, because those guys can flee, depending on who's going to charge, and if it's the chariot or the skull crushers, I'll flee toward my big leadership bubble, so I'm not worried about that. I take my trolls into the Demon Prince. I'm not really sure what to expect here. I haven't fought one before, so we'll see what happens. And expectedly, the goblins flee off the table. There goes my level 2 and my Dispel Scroll. Lay sad. Other movement, I failed the March block test on my Spider, and so I move him just as far as he can, basically keeping that wide charge arc so I can still react if the Skull Crushers move up, or maybe, you know, as much view as I can on those Hellstriders, but they can really just kind of go right around and try to get toward that Doom Diver. Just about the best I could do there. The Mangler moves up, as you can see. He was all those the only as far as he was able to go. Chariot moves up a bit. I move my just cruising Black Orcs up. They have a plus on movement banner, so they move up a little further ahead than the Savages. I've kind of staggered them, so if the Chosen or the Chariot do try to go into the Savages, then I can react. Then there's the my Chariot on the right flank that decides it's going to go off over here and try to threaten that Chariot a bit. Now, I couldn't get him out of the charge arc, but that's okay. If his Chariot charges me, I'll flee. I've got a decent amount of room, and we'll play, you know, just keep away, and those two Chariots will be at least out of the game for a while, and I'm fine with that. During Magic, actually Magic started here, back on this slide, you can see with the orange line, I tried to cast Hand of Gork to pick up that Mangler Squig and drop him right in front of those Skull Crushers, assuming I rolled enough on the distance. But he dispelled it. So I take my last 6 dice, and I try to roll 4 Foot of Gork to squish those Chosen good, and I did not get Irresistible Force, and he has a Dispel Scroll. So he burnt it up, and we move on. During shooting, I aim the Doom Diver at the Skull Crushers, and he only does 1 wound, unfortunately. And we go into close combat. In close combat, he lands 2 wounds on me. I make both regen saves, and I decide I'm not going to puke on him. I've got 18 attacks. It feels like a ton, even though I can't get my 3 stomps. I swing for the fences. Well, he's Nurgle, and he's weapon skill 9, which means I need 6s. And with all those, I land 2 and or I land 1, and he makes his ward save. So even with all those attacks were kind of a little too, I guess, tantalizing. I'm just going to puke next time. That's what the trolls do best. Let's puke, even though he doesn't have armor. So this is a picture of what this flank looks like. I guess that's why that's there. And we go into his turn. He charges, and I flee like I'm saying, and unfortunately I only flee 3 inches. So basically the length of me, yeah, he just catches me, no problem. And not what I expected to do there, but I guess that's what happened. His Chariot, so it looks like his Chariot goes into mine, but what happens first, his Chariot declares a charge on my Boar Boys, who, remember, they're like looking at the Boar Boys' flank. I hold, but then he declares the Skull Crushers, and I'm like, oh, no way, I'm out of here, which is what I wanted. I wanted to pull his Skull Crushers closer so that my Mangler could react. I wasn't sure what he was going to do with them, but that was what I wanted. So I fled with my Boar Boys. They're going to go right through my leadership bubble. That'll be fine. I'm not worried about that there. And then he redirects with his Chariot into my into my Chariot there, but I'm okay with that. You know, I think it's going to stick around. We're both toughness 5 and strength 5, and we have 5 wounds, so I think I can stick and then maybe help him out with the Black Orcs or whatever's going to happen there. Maybe move that Mangler around as I want. So I hold there. And he does not redirect. I don't know if I think he could redirect, and he thought about going to the Chariot, but we kind of mapped out the movement. He was going to have to clip my Mangler to do it, and I think that's why I kind of blocked him there. So he just elected to fail the charge with the Skull Crushers. He thinks about this for a while, and he's like, do I want to trade him? And eventually he decides, yes, he's just going to walk his Hellstriders right into the Mangler. They have a big sloppy kiss fest, and there's about 458,000 wounds that go between them. This arrow just shows where my Boar Boys ended up. They bounced through everyone, but that's fine. They're going to be able to rally and feeling all good about that. That's what it looks like. In Magic, it's 7 dice to 4. He throws 3 dice at the minus D3 toughness on my Chariot. I didn't want to give up the Chariot that easily, so I throw all 4 of my dice to dispel it, get it dispelled. Then he throws 2 dice at the War Shrine, gets it off. He gets +1 strength on his BSB. Now he's a +1/+1. His unit champion in the Warriors gets +1 attack, and his damn Demon Prince, his damn Sorcerer, becomes a Demon Prince Sorcerer, which is not good. Like it looks like I can handle this other Demon Prince, but now I've got 2, and one of them has most likely a 4-up ward save and some other manner of awful kit besides being a level 4. Oh, come on, man. It's just awful. When it rains, it pours, huh? With the last dice, he casts Miasma Pestilence on the Chariot, so now my Chariot's at -1 initiative and -1 weapon skill. His Hell Cannon takes aim at the Savages, but drifts a little bit, only clips 7, and only 2 of them die, make a bunch of ward saves. So I feel pretty decent about that. That was some good luck that finally went my way. I end up taking 2 wounds here, and I do none back. And unfortunately, there's no Inspiring Presence, but there is a reroll, and I break anyway. And I break, and he catches me equally and runs me down. And I was out of the charge arc, and he broke me, and I didn't really expect that to happen. I don't know, I should have, but maybe I should have. But yeah, unfortunately, I broke, and that's where he ended up. I'm still not sure if that was the right call to flee or to stay there, but yeah, that's what I did. Anyway, that Doom Diver's now got something staring down the barrel at him, and it's an undamaged Chariot, so it's unlikely, even if I do land a hit, that of the D6 I can score with the 1 War Machine, that I can score the 5 wounds needed to take him out. So that's gonna suck for the Doom Diver. Over here in close combat, I end up taking 3 wounds, and I decide, you know what, like I talked before, let's just puke on them. They're auto hits. I don't have to worry about rolling to hit, and I puke on them and I do 3 wounds. So that was pretty good. Unfortunately, he has 4, so we're still stuck in combat. And just picture what End of Chaos turn 2 looks like. So it's Orcs and Goblins 2. I rally my boar boys. Yeah, baby. Don't have any animosity problems. I charge the Demon Prince with the Black Orcs. Now, like I said, I'm new to fighting Demon Princes. I know what Black Orcs do, and they're all Strength 7. I feel pretty fun about this. I'm like, if I got anyone on the board that can do this, let's do it. Now, I might have had a little bit, I don't know what the term is, stars in my eyes or something, because, you know, all right, I should set the stage with this. I didn't want to be a dick, but I teased him. I said, hey, the rules say if you don't have a spare Demon Prince model, that Demon Prince is removed as a casualty, brother. Come on, you don't get to do that. He's dead. And I teased him for a little bit on that, but then we just took some pluck foam and made an approximate size base for him and put the Sorcerer up there. But we actually had a discussion about this. If we were playing a normal game, points, you know, where we calculate a victor by the points, I would have the points for that general. But because we're playing Fortitude, his general dies and moves as a casualty, but he gets a Demon Prince that is now his general as well. So we weren't really sure how to play that, but it seemed to us that even though I would have the points for him, because we're playing Fortitude, I don't get those points. So he still has the 2 Fortitude points for the general. I think that's right. If anyone knows or thinks we played it wrong, let me know in the comments, but that's what we did. Anyway, so I moved my Black Orcs up. I'm thinking, let's get in. I think I had, like I said, stars in my eyes. It looked like a lone character to me standing there, just a lone Chaos Knight. Too juicy. It's still a huge flipping Demon Prince, and I'm in a lot of trouble, but I charged in brazenly anyway. My Arachnarok, I wasn't a total fool. I moved my Arachnarok over here to protect the flank, and I actually garrisoned him behind that freaking fence. I've never garrisoned anything. I thought it was like a rule no one ever uses. Now, even though I felt like cock of the walk for doing that here, I forgot all about it in close combat, so it wasn't all good. During Magic, it's 6 dice to 6. I throw all 6 at Footigork, and I do not get Irresistible Force, and he dispels it. You can see my roll is fairly poor. In fact, I don't know how many of those dice actually were part of my roll, but I rolled poorly, and he dispelled it. That's the moral of the story. The Doom Diver takes his last shot. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to take off that Chariot. There was no other support, so let's just work on those Skull Crushers more, and I end up doing 3 wounds, which takes one off completely. Oh, back here, we don't move on yet. In close combat, the Demon Prince, he challenges, and I'm like, damn it. I have a champion and my BSB, and crap. I'm thinking, I made a mistake here. I should have accepted with my champion first. He wasn't going to get a roll in the Eye of the Gods because he's already a Demon Prince. But I was like, well, then next turn he's just going to mitigate all that anyways and to challenge my BSB. So let's just try to swing with the BSB now. You know, I'm a Choppa and all that great stuff. But unfortunately, that was a bad call because he ended up landing 2 wounds, the 2 wounds that were needed to kill the BSB before he got to go, and now there's no combat res and there's no hold your ground, or there's no hold your ground. So that was a bad call. I should have just taken it on the chin with the unit champion first, just to hold off on the BSB, but ultimately it's kind of moot because he's just going to go through to the BSB anyway. I didn't want him sent to the back. So anyway, that's a stalemate. I win with static combat res of the Demon Prince, but he's unbreakable. Over here, I take 1 wound in close combat, but I keep puking and kill the Demon Prince. The crappy Demon Prince, unfortunately. Then I reform. If I didn't reform, I was going to get 2 flank charges, and I decided that let's give the flank to the warriors. They're less scary, and this way, if the Chosen or the War Shrine come in, they're in my front, and then I can react a little more to them with my savages. And if they don't, I can maybe funnel them around if they get aggressive, and they'll funnel around the trolls closer to the savages. We'll see. Chaos turn 3. Chariot goes into the Doom Diver. His Chosen go into my warrior. His warriors go into my trolls. And his Skull Crusher decides to go into the Spider. And I remember, this is the only time I remember, it's a fence, dangerous terrain, and he doesn't fail it, which sucks. Over here, his Chariot comes around and are threatening the rear of my savages. Now, this is where I'm realizing that I made a huge mistake. My huge mistake is not being aggressive enough with the savages. I always want to get the charge off, and so does he. We have 2 very killy units here. They're both terrifying as hell, and no one in any other army in Warhammer want to fight either Chosen or savages like that. But when you've got them facing each other, one of you has to take it on the chin, or you just kind of have this standoff like I did. I was like, you know what, I'm going to let him charge me. Well, he just decided not to. And the side effect of not charging me was that his BSB was close enough to his Hell Cannon to give a reroll the whole time, which his Hell Cannon has been blowing the shit out of me and has actually been failing. I think it's failed 1, maybe 2 rolls so far, which the reroll provided him. So in this case, I didn't catch on fast enough, but this is just another reminder to me that even if you're going to get charged with these savages, get up in there and then keep your damn Chariot close enough such that when he gets charged, you can countercharge or something. You know, those guys aren't going to roll over that fast. But anyway, this is where I'm realizing, oh no, I've just kind of given him what he wants. Those Chosen are a threat, and I'm just holding my guy back. Plus, like I said before, with the leadership, my damn Lord's in there, and he's not giving inspiring presence to anyone. Ugh, I just screwed this one up royally. In Magic, it's 8 dice to 5. He throws 2 at the War Shrine, and I dispel it with 2 dice. He has like very few characters that can even benefit from it anymore, since they're all turning into flipping Demon Princes. But I dispel that with my 2 dice. He casts Plague Vortex with 4 dice. That'll be the toughness test, and he gets an Irresistible Force. So it goes flying through my guys and lands there, killing 5 Black Orcs. And then on the miscast, he gets the small template, Strength 10 hit on himself, loses all the dice out of the power pool, but I failed to wound him with his roll, and he wounds and kills 3 of my Black Orcs. It's like the feedback was only bad for me. It was terrible. Just terrible. But that's what happens. Like I was talking about here, here's that Hell Cannon able to shoot freely and just blows up, kills 5. I don't know why I put 5 on the slide. He actually killed 7. 7 of my savages. Now they're only leadership 8, and they're taking a -1, so that's a 7. That's scary as hell. No reroll. And they passed, but, like I said, learning my lesson here as I go. With the Demon Prince, I fail to wound him. Now he doesn't have anyone to challenge. I'm just not accepting with the champion. And I'm swinging with the great weapons, but, it's still... My champion is 5s to hit him. Everyone else is 6s. I have the strength to do it, but he's got the 3-up ward save. I'm not landing anything. And I'm only lucky. I mean, he's not stomping very well. I'm not doing that well, but it's just a matter of time. I'm not going to be able to win this fight, I realized. It was all because of that character in there. The first round I might have had a better shot, but even that, weapon skill 9 and being Nurgle, that's a dick move. The Chariot eats a Doom Diver like we'd expect. The Spider ends up doing 1 wound to him. He does like 2 to me, and unfortunately, he broke me and ran me down. Now, I didn't remember until I was putting the slide together that my Spider was stubborn, so it should have been on I think it's a 6. I don't remember what I actually rolled, but we did modify it down by the 2 or 3 I lost by. So That spider might have still been there. I don't know, but we're just going to have to pretend that it wasn't. And again, I've got myself into the same problem. There's no reroll and there's no inspiring presence because I'm not playing it very smart. Anyway, I deserve that. Anyway, the Skull Crushers pursue pretty far forward and hit the vortex and have to bounce through, and it ends up killing one of the Skull Crushers, which is actually not too bad. Over here, he rolls insanely well on those trolls. Like, you should have seen it. He didn't even need to roll that well. He killed, before I got to go, all the trolls but, like, 1 1/4, or 1 1/3 or something. Like, he rolled, like, 90% to hits and then, like, expected value on wounds. But it was still just, like, a bloodfest. I had, like, no regens. It was crazy. Then I went back. It was only one guy in combat that could fight. It wasn't even worth puking. I missed my stomp. I did, like, 1 wound. I broke. He did not want to pursue, but he failed both rolls to restrain and ended up rolling really far. Caught them, and now he's 1 inch in front of my savages. So now, even when I'm too stupid to get into combat, at least sometimes someone steps in and puts someone right in front of my savages. Granted, they are Nurgle warriors with halberds, so it's going to be bloody. But at least they get to kill something. The Demon Prince kills a bunch more and stomps more. Now he's starting to, it's swinging either way, but my numbers are going down. At this point, I've switched over to shields and hand weapons. I've got 1 point of fortitude in there. I need to conserve it, and I'm not going to land anything on him. No way. Or not enough, for sure. We actually had a question about fortitude, but I think we already talked about that. I have that in my notes twice for some reason. So, Orcs and Goblins turn 4. I declare that perfect charge. And then I decided, I wanted to go into the Cherry here originally, but he's just out of the charge arc. So it's a decent charge. I think it's like a 9 or a 10, which is about 50-50, maybe a little less. And so I take it on the Skull Crusher. Over here, I make the charge in no problem. And I make it into the Skull Crushers here. He's not there. I only really have one picture for all this. During Magic, I rolled fairly high. I got 9 dice. I cast Here We Go, and he did not dispel it. And so my shaman my savages are going to be re-rolling, and then I throw 5 dice at Foot of Gork, excuse me, and he dispels it. So no foot the entire game. Very sad. In close combat, I end up landing 2 wounds, so he had 1 left on this guy, and I broke him. He landed 2 back on me, but I broke him and overran him, and so I got a few points. It's meaningless because we're in Fortitude, and he didn't have a banner in there, but at least I got a few points. As you can see here, the Demon Prince is still chopping through everyone, I'm just trying to hold on to Steadfast. I'm about to lose it. Next round, I'm probably not going to be Steadfast, and then I'm going to break. So that's going to be bad. That'll drop me under Fortitude. And then over here, it's a bloodfest. Like, he absolutely goes first and just rolls super well. I mean, I'm probably not too out of expected value, but there's just 1,000 hits coming my way and 1,000 wounds, and I, don't ward save that many. It is what it feels like. I mean, I was down, who knows. But I swing back, kill about 6 or 7, end up winning combat. Those savages are pretty great. I think I got like 1 wound with the big stab on the way in. But he is Steadfast. I wasn't really threatening taking that away from him. So that's pretty much it. Now the Choppas is going away, and we're in trouble. So at this point, before we go into Orcs and Goblins, or Warriors of Chaos turn 5, I concede, because I'm going to get a rear charge and a flank charge on my savages. Those guys will be dead. That'll drop me, and the Demon Prince is probably going to break me this turn anyway, and I have no chance. So that's the game, and this is what the board looks like at the end. So, lessons learned. I learned quite a few lessons here. One, I need to get a few more characters. I need to work on leadership, and I think I should do that a couple of ways. One, I should get a few more characters. I'm usually just relying on the core here. I'm never maxing out Lord or Hero points, not even close, which is kind of fun. It's kind of a reaction to playing Vampire accounts where I need all the Lords and Heroes I can handle. I really like playing with like very low points there, but at the same time, it means I have really crappy leadership, and putting all my eggs in Leadership 8 on a guy who's involved in one combat group that you sometimes can't control, that's just not the way it's got to go. What I'd like to do is put Big Boss up on a Wyvern and see how that goes. The only reason I haven't yet is because I don't have the model. But I think I'm going to do it or start proxying it or just go pick one up, something like that. But I think that'll give me the ability to babysit everyone's leadership in the beginning half of the game and then do a devastating kind of vampire on a zombie dragon style charge that I like. toward late game and go where I want because he'll be flying. And yeah, cannons are a problem, but big deal. You can't hide from cannons forever. So I think I'm going to do that and see how that goes. That way I, won't be losing leadership everywhere. I mean, just goblins can't rely on their leadership ever. And, like everyone's suggesting I need to get my spider into combat more and put him right in the middle. And I try that, or I go to try that, but I have too many combat blocks that all need to benefit from the leadership, and they always end up getting just outside of each other's range and not able to stand on their own leadership. Black Orcs excluded. Those guys can stand all day long, but I usually put the BSB in there just because I kind of am terrified of a goblin BSB. I'd like to have one, but he's so flippin' easy to kill. It's not even worth it. I suppose I could put an orc in there as a BSB. You can do that. Anyway, I learned that lesson. Other lessons I learned is that like I said, I need to get back into the shooting game. I kind of feel sleazy about taking a lot of the Orcs and Goblins shooting, especially if I know I'm going against Warriors of Chaos because it's so devastating against them. But screw it, I'm playing this kind of hard list in terms of infantry. It's one of my army strengths. I'm going to start doing it. A couple Doom Divers from now on, baby. Let's do it. And a Rock Lava and all the things I want. I think I'm going to start trying those. Maybe cut back on. Well, there's a couple things I'll cut back on. I can get a lot of points off if I don't take that Arachnarok. And he's fun, but he's 300 points, and that's a lot of rare points. So we'll tool that around there. And just in general, watching leadership, watching where things are going. I had really terrible luck this game, just awful on all the rolls, just failing everything. In fact, my opponent actually, he did one of those where he was just laughing, put his head in his hands, kind of, and said that he was sorry about how things were going. He was like, "I'm sorry, I'm doing this to you, dude. This is awful." But it was fine. It was fun. 2 Demon Princes was fun to see, and I still can't believe those Demon Princes are unbreakable. I mean, they're a demon. Wouldn't you think they'd be unstable? Isn't that what they do? But I don't know. Unbreakable's pretty intense. But then again, I've seen that that the War Shrine do almost nothing the entire game. You kind of put your eggs in one basket, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I played very poorly, but I learned a couple good lessons, and I'm ready to kind of apply those and get a couple new models and tweak the army around a little bit. Got 2 games coming up in the next week, so hopefully you'll see some battle reports from me. Thanks for watching, guys.